do that because I have to watch what I eat.
Yes.
So I wanna make sure that I can eat what's here, or do I need to eat before I come?
Yeah.
So, and that was one thing that I did find, and you also find out that some people like their favorite food trucks, so they'll come
Yeah.
because of the food truck.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was well ran, it was fun to watch, and a big learning experience.
Yeah. And on the food vendors, we posted on social media, but I liked your idea about the list, because we know what food trucks are coming to Pie Fest, and so being able to put that out there with some menus. We tried to do that, but it didn't reach everybody, and so I like that. And then also just talking to our food vendors about, you know, can we highlight, do you have gluten-free, do you have, you know, anyone who's got anything particularly like that, that we can highlight. Thank you.
We had very few people last week. I was out on the corner all 3 days.
But if you pull into, I mean, it's not something that you think about, but if you pull in and you see parking at King Rose, okay, I'm gonna pull in there because that's where it says parking. Not even realizing that
There's other, yeah.
there's other parking,
Yeah, yeah.
because that's all they
And I
do.
think we could have just simply solved that with signage. So one of the things that we got smart about some years ago is, because you can spend a lot of money on these signs, and so we tried to design signs that are generic. So whether the Kiwanis need it for the pancake breakfast, for the firefighters, we do pancake breakfast signs, and we do parking signs, so that they can be applied to almost any event. And then we got a grant for the sandwich boards, and so we were able to use those out in different places. So I think we just need to get around to some of these handicap parking signs that would be
Like I say,
helpful.
simple, put a handicap parking at the entrance of your parking and
Yes.
point it that way, so
Exactly.
that they would think about it.
Exactly. Good. Okay,
I really don't have a whole lot to add, it's not already been covered as far as, we didn't have any incidents. There was one minor thing, mother, she lost her children in that roommate's house. But, other than that, we had good coverage.
yes.
I know we had more people there than we needed when it was all said and done, but once again, we prepared for a lot more people, but we had no way of knowing, you know, that, so, but as we all know, police presence is a deterrent in itself, so we had it covered and didn't have anything major go on.
Yeah. Just so everybody knows, if you don't know, we had an emergency preparedness meeting in this room, I don't know, a month and a half, 2 months before the event. So the fire department, the police department, the sheriff's office, the Spring River Ambulance, White River Health, county emergency preparedness, several others were in the room. And we were just talking through the site, the logistics, parking, the traffic, contingency plans, kind of all the different things that we have to think about when you have an outdoor event. If it hails, if there's a tornado, if there's lightning, all those things. And so I can't say enough about the communication. Heather's team, we had 24 handheld radios just among our staff. We had a communications protocol. And I think all of those things are so key. What you don't want to do is after an event be saying, I wish we would have done these things. So I'd rather be overstaffed and overprepared than to be talking about what we missed in that form. So,
And Johnson,
yeah.
one thing I will add is I know we're concentrating on Cherokee Village because this is our place and we concentrate on Cherokee, but just like you were saying about the whole state of Arkansas had a much lower turnout. I read about with Texas and Missouri, everybody was reporting lower turnouts.
Listen, so many of you heard
It's not
us.
just us.
Yeah, Monday, we had near perfect weather here. And if we didn't have near perfect weather, if we had Texas weather, then we'd be talking about 5 people over there instead of what we had. And so, yeah, the places in Texas who did what we did and prepared, and nobody showed up because they came here. A lot of those folks on Monday morning were showing up at our gate with their telescopes because they had rerouted themselves from South Texas. And so, It's always nice to beat Texas, but on this, you know, we just looked out because the weather was phenomenal, and so that brought people here that normally wouldn't have come, and so, Cal, did you?
I don't necessarily have, because I didn't have any issues. A couple of notes I had made probably deal more with the messaging from the state, but I don't know if you're gonna have. But one of my concerns, I guess, through the planning even of this, and like I said, it was coming from the state, it wasn't coming from y'all directly, was all this information coming from Wyoming to do with this, that's where it all, you know, and they were talking about how big an issue there was. There's a huge demographic difference between Wyoming and here. I looked it up, Googled it real quick one day. I think there were 7 cities in the path in Wyoming. That's a little bit different than Arkansas.
Yeah.
So, for those people, yeah, it affected them completely differently than it was gonna affect us, yet Arkansas prepared
Yes.
like Wyoming did, and I think that's where the state really messed up
Yeah.
in telling everybody, hey, stay home, do
Yeah.
this, do that.
Yeah.
We have Dollar General every 5 miles, we're not
Yeah.
resources like Wyoming did. you know.
Right. No, I think you're 100% right, and that's the main message tomorrow, and I think they know that, so they have a new director of tourism who's just a couple months old,
Right,
so she kind of inherited what the old
sure,
director of tourism had put in place.
sure.
But, you know, Casper, Wyoming, we listen, we watch webinars, but, and we're all smart people.
Yeah,
But why are we looking at Casper, Wyoming, which has, I mean, we're a town of 5,000 people. So my main message for them tomorrow is, if you ever do anything like this again, you need to talk about an urban experience and a rural experience. And so what we should have done as a community is say, okay, great Casper, but give me a town of 2,000 to 5,000 and tell us what they experienced.
exactly.
And that's what we should have been doing, and, everything else was just, you know,
Well,
and even Russellville, you know, Russellville's a
beyond
town
that,
that,
the whole state, our whole state has more resources even available. Police officers in the whole
Yes.
state, we have way more in Arkansas than they have in Wyoming.
yes.
Firefighters
Yeah.
would be the same way.
And I think part of it was because there hadn't been one in a while in 2017, so there was a big buildup. And then the timing was double, and to me, that meant really nothing at the beginning. 2017, the eclipse was 2 minutes and something, and then it doubled to four minutes or something, which actually was a really big deal.
Yeah.
And so I think all of that just kind of built up, and I think, I'm anxious to hear their lessons learned, because I know that they've been putting it together. But I think that's the biggest one, which is, my message to them is rural communities in an event like this, you've got to think about it differently, because it's a big deal for us to do a 3-day festival and spend, you know, commit to a budget and everything, and so we would have done that different, not just based on, but, you know, if the messaging would have been different, and
Right.
so, and they know that, and we know that, but
Right.
it's, you know, I was thinking about Russellville, which is about 30,000 people, and apparently they had 60,000. So they kind of experienced what Casper did, which was a doubling of their population, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
We were saying, if we double our population, we had capacity for 5,000 people down here. Well, that would have been a huge deal for us. It didn't, you know, it didn't reach that, and so, otherwise it's like Pie Festival or less, so. Misty, did you have anything from front office, and you were on the front lines?
Well, not really. I mean, I got a lot of calls. The main complaints was from locals. The people from out of town, they didn't really, a lot of those, they didn't complain about, you know, the price or anything. They just needed information. And a lot of that information I didn't have. That's something I would like to know more for going forward, because City Hall's phone number is on that website. And going forward, for things like this, I need to know where's the parking gonna be? What, you know, just different things.
Yeah.
Because they call, you know, what about rentals? Where can they call for rentals? Just different things. people from out of town, they just needed more information. And I'd like to be able to tell them
Yeah,
what they needed to know.
that's good. Arm you with more information.
Yes.
Yeah. Good. Before we turn it over to public comment, there are 3 city council members here. Do you, either of you, any of you want to make any comment?
I've got a few things, Jonathan, kind of leading off of what Misty just said. My name's Robert Smith. I'm on city council. I'm also on the A&P. I'm also on Village Pride. So we started actually actively working this in February, March, leading up to it, cleaning up roadsides and everything else. And being on city council, my question to you is, what could we have done for you? We did not put out a lot of information as a city council. At the very end, we started releasing stuff through the city of Cherokee Village. But in an event like this, and even for the Pie Festival, what could the city council and the members of city council do for events like this to make them something that's more amenable to the public in general?
That kind of puts me on the spot. I mean, I would say there's, without question, the fire and the police department, there's nothing more. I mean, they went above and beyond. Misty in the front office and the Welcome Center gives the A&P tremendous support, and the mayor's office as well. And then on the city council, I think, you and Pamela are on the A&P, so you're already engaged. Heather, as a city council member, just spent an enormous amount of time on this, countless hours. And so I think those 3 council members, we couldn't ask for any more. I would say that in general, we lost some momentum over fighting over Ferris wheel at the beginning. And I will say this, if Steve were here, I would tell him, I mean, that was the right decision not to have a Ferris wheel here for a month. I don't like how that decision happened, and I think that was an important lesson. And I think the lesson there is for the city to understand, the council to understand the role of the commission, and for the commission also to work more closely with the city to bridge any of those gaps. Because really at a time when we should have been all moving in the same direction, we essentially shut down our planning and operations and lost a couple of critical months because the entire Eclipse team was demoralized by what was happening here. And even though it was the right decision, we arrived at it in the wrong way. And so part of that probably was just me and Steve getting cross, frankly, personalities. But I think I think the lesson learned there is to try to rise above that, because at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is something for the economy and for the community. And so again, I go back to that woman who we had that 30-minute. At the end of the day, what she and I realized is that she's deeply passionate about this community. I'm deeply passionate about this community. How do we make this better? So when we realized that we were coming from the same spot, then we just got to work out the details. And so I think there is some misunderstanding from some council members about the commission, and I think the commission wants to work to bridge that gap in the next months, because it's really important that the council supports the commission and the commission supports the council. And then lastly, I would say that for the council to be present. There were a lot of council members who didn't contribute, didn't show up, didn't attend, didn't buy tickets, didn't sponsor, and I think that's